In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make the bat applique and also the circle granny square to act as your moon. Hi, this is Katie and welcome to the Nodding Perch, where I like to talk and share all things crochet. So you ready? Let's go. Now, since black is hard to see in this tutorial, I'll be using this gray color. Once again, I love this yarn by Hobby Lobby. This gray color is Gray Mist. And I'm using my trusty H hook today, 5mm. Okay, so to get started, we're going to make our slip knot, and then we are going to chain 15. All right, once you have your chain of 15, your first stitch is going to be a double crochet, and you're going to do that into the fourth chain from hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Make our double crochet into that fourth chain from the hook. Then in the next stitch, we're going to do 1 double crochet. Then in the following stitch, we're going to do a double crochet increase, which just means 2 double crochets into that one stitch. So here's 1 and 2. Then the next 2 stitches, we're going to do 1 double crochet into each. 1 stitch. I'm sorry if I'm saying stitch. It's a chain. We're working along the chain. And 2. In the next chain, we're going to do 1 double crochet and then 1 triple crochet, also known as a treble. You can call it triple or a treble. So here's my double crochet. I'm going to go back into that with my triple, which means you go around your hook twice. Then in the next chain, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to reverse it. So we're going to start with our triple first. And then we're going to put a double crochet back into that same chain. All right, now over the next 2 chains, we're going to do 1 double crochet into each. Here's 1 and 2. In the next chain, we are going to do a double crochet increase. So remember that is 2 double crochets into the same chain. Here's 1 and 2. In the next chain, we'll do 1 double crochet. And then in the last chain, we're going to do a double crochet increase. So put your 2 double crochets into that last chain. Now you should have something that looks like a upside down V. Now let's chain 1. And we're going to work along the other side of the chain. Okay, so we're going to start this by putting a slip stitch into that last chain that you did your double crochet increase in. So just go ahead, and I like to put the tail on the other side because it kind of helps whip you around to get you in a good position to start working this way. Now what we're going to do is slip stitch into the next 5 chains of the corresponding stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that should bring you to one of the first triple crochet stitches. See that right there in that corresponding chain. All right, so we're going to work on the first ear of the bat, And we're going to do that by chaining 3 and slip stitch into the second chain from the hook. And now we're going to do a single crochet into the last chain. And we're going to finish this by slip stitching back into the beginning chain. There's one little ear. Right, slip stitch into the next chain. And we're going to do it again. Chain 3, slip stitch into the second chain from the hook, and single crochet into the last chain, and then slip stitch back into the beginning chain. And now we're going to make our way down. We're going to do a slip stitch into the next 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is what you have so far. Now let's work on the details of the bottom. We're going to chain 1 and then slip stitch into that chain 3 space at the beginning where we skip those first 3 chains. Let's go ahead and slip stitch into that. Then into the actual first stitch right here, we're going to do a single crochet. And we're also going to do a half double crochet into that same stitch. Chain 2. We're going to slip stitch into the top of that half double crochet. You see it? On that inner loop there. And now we're going to continue working into that same stitch. So next we're going to do a half double crochet. And then a single crochet. So from working our way up and then back down, we formed a triangle. All right, so in the next 3 stitches, we're going to do 1 single crochet into each. 1, 2, and 3. Right, in the next stitch, we're going to make another triangle. So we'll do our single crochet, followed by your half double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch into the top of your half double crochet, and do a half double crochet back into that same stitch, and then a single crochet back into that stitch. There's your second triangle. All right, in the next 3 stitches, we're going to do 1 single crochet, and this is 3, and it's going to bring us back to those triple crochet stitches, which, as you can tell, it lines up with the ears. So in the next stitch, we're going to do our triangle slightly different, and with this, we are going to do a half double crochet first, followed by a double crochet into that same stitch, chain 2, slip stitch into the top of that double crochet, and then unlike the other triangles, we're not going to work back into the same stitch. We're going to complete it into the next stitch. So we'll do our double crochet, and then our half double crochet. All right, and then we'll do single crochet into the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. We'll make our triangle here. So single crochet, half double, chain 2, slip stitch on top of that, half double, back into the stitch, followed by a single crochet. All right, we're almost there. We're going to do a single crochet into the next 2 stitches only. 1, 2, and then in that last stitch, we're going to do our last triangle. So single crochet, half double, chain 2, single crochet into top of that half double back into the same stitch, and a single crochet into that same stitch. And then you're just going to fasten off. All right, there is your bat. I'm going to show you how to do the circle granny square that acts as your moon that your bat's going to lay on top of. And as always, I'm using I Love This Yarn by Hobby Lobby, and this purple color is called Hot Orchid. I'm also using the bright yellow color for the moon, and unfortunately I no longer have the label, but it's the same yarn. And then my H hook, 5mm. And since granny squares are made from inside out, we're going to start with the moon color first. Okay, so with my bright yellow color, I'm going to do a magic ring. You can also do a chain 4, slip stitch the chain together and work into the center of that ring as well. So let's go ahead and do our chain 1, and that holds that ring so it doesn't fall apart on us. Now here you can either do a chain 2, or you can do what I like to do, which is called a stacking stitch. I just think it looks better than a chain 2. So I'm going to do a single crochet, and then I'm going to do another single crochet into that left little loop there at the base of your first single crochet. There we go. And that's my stacking stitch. That gives me the same height as my double crochet stitch. So this is going to be count as your first double crochet, and then we're going to do 11 more double crochets into the ring. So in all you will have 12. Okay, then here is my 11th double crochet. So I made 11 double crochets, and then you had the starting either your chain 2 or the stacking stitch, which acts as a double crochet, so that gives me 12 altogether. I'm going to go ahead and tighten my ring. All right, and now we're going to slip stitch into the top of that stacking stitch, or chain 2, whatever you're using for your first double crochet. I'm going to do a chain 1, and then I'm going to do another stacking stitch on top of that. Once again, this is where you can do a chain 2 instead of a stacking stitch. Okay, and then we're going to do a double crochet back into that same stitch. There we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a double crochet increase, which means 2 double crochets into each stitch all the way around the ring. So I already have my first 2, so that means I need to do 22 more around. So in altogether, I end up with 24 in this round. So do a double crochet increase into each stitch. Okay, so I have one more increase to go here into the last stitch. And that gives me 24 double crochets all together, because once again, that beginning stacking stitch or your chain 2 acts as a first double crochet. All right, so let's go ahead and slip stitch onto top of that first acting double crochet. And we're going to do our chain 1. And then once again, we're going to do our stacking stitch or our chain 2. Double crochet back into that same stitch. And in this row, we are going to increase around. So what we're going to do is, and then following stitch, we're going to do 1 double crochet. And then the next stitch, we're going to do an increased double crochet, which is the 2 double crochets. So we're going to follow this pattern all the way around the circle for this round. We're going to do 1 double crochet and then an increase in the next stitch. And 1 double crochet followed by increase. And I'm going to work this all the way around. I'll see you towards the end here. Okay, so I have one more stitch to go, and on this stitch I'm going to do 1 double crochet since we started with the 2 double crochets. And on this stitch we're not going to finish it all the way. We're going to stop at the last step because this is where we're going to add our purple color. Okay, so take your new color and we're just going to lay it across the hook. And we're going to finish our double crochet by pulling that through. That's the last step of our double crochet. All right, the previous color, let's go ahead and pull that tail so we can tighten that stitch down a little bit. Now we're going to slip stitch into the first acting double crochet stitch, chain 1, and once again this is where you can do your stacking stitch or your chain 2. I'm going to do my stacking and I'm going to crochet over these tails just on this first stitch to help hold them down. So on this round, we are going to turn the circle into a square. So our next step is we're going to do 1 more double crochet into that same stitch. Chain 1. And then we're going to do 2 more double crochets into the following stitch. 1 and 2. So this is going to be our first corner of our square. All right, in the next 2 stitches, we're going to do a half double crochet each, 1 half double crochet into the next 2 stitches. And since we're working up a circle, we're getting to the top of the circle, our stitches are going to get smaller. Then you notice as we go down, our stitches will get a little bit longer. So after your 2 half double crochets, in the next 3 stitches at the top of the circle, we're going to do a single crochet into each of the 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. Now we'll come back down the circle, so we'll do a half double crochet into the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. And then over the next 2 stitches, we're going to do our next corner. So we're going to do 2 double crochets into the next stitch. 1, 2, chain 1, and finish that corner by doing 2 double crochets into the next stitch. 1 and 2. And we're going to repeat that all the way around the circle. So you're going to do your corner, which goes over 2 stitches, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. And then in the next 2 stitches is your half double crochet. Next 3 stitches is your single crochets. Next 2 stitches is your half double crochets. And then we're going to do our corner again over the following 2 stitches, all the way around the circle. 1 and 2 for a half, 3 singles. Now we'll do 2 half doubles, and then our third corner. Chain 1 and the second part of that corner. Okay, so I'll see you when we get to the end here, keeping up with that pattern. Okay, so I had the last 2 single crochets left, 1 and 2, Let's slip stitch into the first acting double crochet. Chain 1, and we're going to do a double crochet into that. So you can do your stacking stitch or your chain 2. I'm going to do my stacking as always. Right, and then in the next stitch we're going to do 1 double crochet. Okay, that brings us to the corner. So in the corners, we are going to do 2 double crochets. 1, 2, and chain 2 this time on this round for our corners, and then 2 double crochets back into that chain space. And this round is pretty simple. That's what you're going to do on all your corners, and then all across the sides, you're just going to do a double crochet into each of the stitches. So double crochet along the sides, and then in your corners, which is your chain spaces from your previous round, you're just going to do 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. And that's going to leave you with 10 double crochets on the sides in between your corners. So here's my next corner. 1, 2, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets back into that chain space. Then we'll do the 10 double crochets across the top on the way to the next corner, and then on the next side, same thing, 10 double crochets into the next corner, and then I'll see you at the end here. And I just want to make a little note that on the corners, I don't do my first double crochet into this stitch, because for me, this stitch is part of that corner. So I start doing my first double crochet across the top into that second stitch there. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So since we started off the row with 2 double crochets before a corner, that means on this last side we just need to do 8. So I'm already at, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this will be number 8. Then 8 plus these 2, that gives us the 10 for our side. So let's go ahead and fasten off. Okay, so there is your circle granny square. And then you just take your bat, and hopefully you left some long tails on your bat, and you just use those long tails to sew him however you like on the square. Any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and make sure you subscribe to my channel. I'll see you on the next tutorial.